to the cloud. Yeah, let's start. So always beginning with Tai Chi, the mind and the body together, which means feeling the feet on the ground, feeling the sensations of the body, inhabiting the body with your mind, with your awareness. So you feel the feet, make sure the weight of the body is in the right part of the foot, make sure the structure of the legs is available to receive the weight of the body. So when you soften the legs, it's going to receive the weight of the body. Organize the body, lift the sternum, lift the crown of the head. We'll just shake like we're shaking a bag of flour. Very loose, jiggly movements, but gives us a chance to soften all the muscles. Gives us a chance to feel our crown of our head hanging, perineum hanging from the crown of the head, so the spine elongating. And the body very loose. Can you feel there's a contradiction between when the body becomes very loose, you feel the pressure of the body in the legs, you feel the weight of the body pressing into itself. So even though there's a looseness in the body, there's a pressure in the body as well. Like generally when we're holding on, the body feels quite light. It's not the sensation we're looking for. We're looking for this combination of being really loose, being really organized in our posture, and then this kind of weight of pressure of the body pressing into itself and onto the ground arrives. The shoulders dropping like we talk about the shoulder girdle, both shoulders together, spreading open and dropping under the weight of the arm. So the weight of the arm, softening of the muscles, allows the shoulders to fall into place. I was at the end of the class last week, it just cut out. I was just saying the important thing is, and it was to do with the way the arms drop and the way when we let the arms drop here, it's not that the arms are dropped, it's that the whole shoulder girdle is dropped. And because the shoulder girdle has dropped, the arms drop. So first loosening exercise, because we soften the body and because we relax the shoulder girdle and the shoulders drop and spread over the whole of the chest, the elbows become heavy and drop and the arms drop. And now look how long they appear, but because the shoulders dropped, not held here. Long. Turn the waist back and lift. But don't lift the shoulders girdle back up. Just let a wave come out to open up all the joints and let the arms be long. And then release the leg. Release the abdomen. Keep looking for that place where the abdomen settles into the leg, shoulder girdle drops, and the arms are long. Everything pressing into the connection. I want to try and move the body across in such a way that doesn't, the muscles change. The muscles keep releasing and keep changing as the weight increases. Because I'm moving my body towards the foot and across, the weight is going to increase and the muscles adjust to that, adjust to how much of the weight of the body they support and the condition they're in to do that, until right at the end, the full weight of the body presses in and the soft muscles receive the weight of the body without biting or without going back into a holding condition, without contracting. So when we move into the leg, we want to make sure that the muscles don't start to contract and don't hold. So there needs to be a constant change as more weight and more pressure comes over the leg. Just like the skin of a beach ball, there's change the whole time. What we don't want is the leg to stop changing and just lock and hold on to the body. And what we don't want is it to lock and keep us out of alignment. So the melting's important, really important to focus on. The melting of the muscles is really important to focus on. Let's try a little experiment. If you just stand with your feet parallel, if you put one hand under the belly, maybe the thumb in the navel, the other hand in the crook of the back. By softening the legs, by changing the muscles in the legs, we want to drop our hands into the feet. So our belly moves, and we'll feel it move because our hands are here, into the feet by softening the muscles of the legs. So I'm sinking, like exercise number 2, really. I'm sinking over 4 swings of the arms. I'm sinking my legs to place the belly into the feet or onto the legs. And I should feel a slow, steady, continuous release that allows the belly, when I say belly, I mean the whole abdominal area, the bowl, in. You can think of the shape of the pelvis. The belly just goes in like a ball sitting into the pelvis by the legs changing underneath. And then you push up, just like exercise number 2. You'd come up, 1, 2, 3, and again sink to settle the belly, to sink and settle, and then to come up, sink, smooth, continuous release of the muscles to settle the abdomen. And of course, the upper body follows that, and the shoulder girdle settles as well. If we're to do exercise number 1, we focus on changing the leg in such a way that the belly, which means the whole millstone or ball of the center of gravity, into the leg. Keep changing the leg, keep changing the leg, keep changing the leg, keep receiving the weight of the belly. It's the belly gets heavier because the body weight's coming across, the leg muscle receives more and more and more. Turn back. Awareness on the other side of what the leg's doing and changing, and how the belly's going into the opposite leg. Now, with all the movement of the arms and the dropping of the arms, try to stay focused on how the leg changing receives the abdomen. You'll soon enough notice if the leg you're moving onto is tight, is holding, if there's out of alignment, if it's gripping, or if it's receiving the abdomen into the leg, and you're finding that pressure build up. Muscles are loose, and yet that pressure builds up. You could say then the center is stable in a fluid, buoyant condition rather than a held condition. It's not held, it's not rigid, it's fluid and it's free to move like a boat in water. We're wanting to get the center of the body stable. We're using this exercise to move the weight across smoothly, to release the muscles smoothly, and to find that place where the center feels buoyantly pressed into the foot and stable. Every time we move. And you'll notice if your leg isn't changing, how when you move across it'll tighten. You'll notice how your muscles are grasping, and you have to find a way of keeping those muscles releasing, keeping your focus on a very deep intention to keep melting your muscles, feeling the sensations of your body changing, rather than thinking about the exercise. Because as soon as you come into your head, as soon as you start telling yourself what to do and thinking about it, you'll override the sensations that we're looking for. The sensations we're looking for are really subtle. You have to focus really deeply on listening to your body change, keep changing. And the movements of the arms are there, the release of the arms are there, the turning of the body is there, but our main focus is underneath all that, and is to do with the letting go in the body and the consequential pressure that arrives, buoyancy that arrives as a result of letting go. Mustn't collapse the body, mustn't keep the body too loose. Let's let the body fall in, be pressed onto the ground. The weight of the body press onto the ground. I'm just going to mute everybody because somebody's got their mic on.
Sorry, look, that was me. I was going to ask a question.
Okay, yeah, fine. Everybody else can carry on training that. Yeah, just ask away, Brian.
So whenever you were saying about you allow the ball, you like settle the belly.
Yeah.
Should that feel like as you relax the legs, everything sinks down? Should you feel a hip tuck under slightly? Not a tuck, but a settle in that sort of way?
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
Cool, that was it. Easy as that.
Yeah. So what you're doing with your hands there is exactly the direction your hips are looking for. So I'll just repeat that in case someone didn't see you there. When you're settling in, your lower back's opening and there's a rotation in your hips. But it's relative to there are a few things that are relative in that, Brian. So it's relative to how much weight has moved across to that leg, how much the muscles have changed, and how loose your muscles are to allow that rotation to take place. It's not that you want that rotation to take place. You want it to be a natural process where, because the muscles are loosening, because the weight's moving in, there's fluidity that allows that rotation to take place. And that's very different from tucking your tail, because so many times beginners are told in Tai Chi to open the lower back and tuck the tail. And it's a consequence of other things that makes the tail tuck, rather than, it's quite an intermediate level when that can happen naturally, right? Because that means that there has to be organization. The structure of the body has to be really clear. The releasing has to be really smooth and clear. The movement has to be very, very drop by drop by drop, because any of these things start to get jarry and the muscles tighten straight away and go back into kind of holding patterns. So, what we're looking for is subtle. You have to keep your focus very focused on the body sensations as you're doing it, and not get carried away with what are the arms doing, what are the shoulders doing, what's my alignment doing, because these things just take you into something you need to really feel what we're looking for. and how the body's weight itself, combined with the releasing, cause a dynamic fluid buoyancy. Right? That's the only way I can really describe it, just like a beach ball. And that makes the center very, very stable. And so when someone in push hands, for example, when you're in that condition and the center is pressed on, when someone presses into you, it creates more pressure, but it's also receiving their force. It's not balancing on their force. You're softening, you're receiving your partner's force into you, but at the same time, it's creating more pressure. This is exactly what we're looking for in push hands. So often in push hands, when someone touches us, we go into that locking, holding, balancing on them or resisting them. No, we want to receive their force. So it's our center that wants to be receiving, then our upper body and our shoulders, and then our arms. Everything's receiving in the same way. It's exactly what's happening in the form. Every single movement of the form, when we move into a posture here, if you just have a look for a second, when I move into this posture in the form here, when I sink, if someone was to touch into the arms or the shoulders or the chest or the hips, everything is dropping into, I'm going to exaggerate the movement so you can see it more. Everything's sinking and dropping in. The shoulders are dropping, opening out around the chest, dropping in to create that buoyancy right the way from the feet through to the fingertips. So the whole sphere of my body is pressed onto the ground. It's not one part of the body that's holding on or one part that's disconnected. The whole sphere becomes fluid and buoyant. This is the aim, right? Same in any posture. When we come into the center, there's nothing held or disconnect. The whole body, the shoulder girdle is dropped. The body's pressed onto the ground. The whole body's fluid. As I sink onto the front foot, the wave then can pass through that buoyant body. Got to find the buoyancy first. We've got to find the structure of the body. We've got to find the releasing inside the body. And then we start to get an inkling of what that buoyancy is. And from that buoyancy, then we've got a genuine chance to find the true forces we're looking for in Taiji. So there's the kind of the game plan, really. How do we find that buoyancy? There's a training method. What do we do with that buoyancy when we found it? How do we find the timing of the waves that can pass through that? So, second loosening exercise. Remember, we're trying to feel the center pressed into the legs. Over 4 swings of the arms. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's quite a long time to change the muscles in the body. It's quite a long time. It's an extended period over which we have to keep the muscles in the legs changing. Right? Because it's not just that I'm lowering myself, and it's not that I'm carrying my weight and just going to a new position. I'm changing my muscles over that whole time. Like that fist releases and changes to a different quality. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I come up, push the feet into the ground and come up. 2, 3, 4, then I can release the legs again. So you have to focus on what the legs are doing, how this allows the belly to settle in. And then coming up. Legs change, the belly settles in. Coming up. Legs change, belly settles in. Can you feel the feeling of the weight of the body growing? The weight of the body drawing in, drawing down. The structure of the body staying clear. The muscles around the structure softening so the whole body can fall into itself. not to do with moving down. It's to do with releasing down. Release around the structure. Let the muscles fall off the bones in such a smooth way that they catch the weight of the body. They catch the weight of the body and the body presses in. Trying to find words to describe what I'm doing into words that you can feel the images for and work with. Catching yourself falling. So there's a dynamic same degree that you let go, you catch yourself falling. It's not like you let go quickly, not like you hold on and don't fall. There's a dynamic interaction between the two. The releasing of the muscles allows the body to push in. Gravity is there. Your body wants to fall, so you just change enough to let yourself fall in and find that buoyancy that supports you. Let go some more buoyancy, let go some more buoyancy. The pressure builds as you let go. That's a dynamic process. The same in number 3, when we move, same thing happens in the leg. You soften the leg and change, you let the center press in, let the shoulders go and turn. Square, release the leg, let the center go in, let the shoulders go in, turn. Release, turn, let the center go in. Release the shoulder, keep turning, the arm goes out, turn back. So it's not just moving and turning, it's not just doing this. This is loose, but this isn't organized. What I'm doing, if you look at what I'm doing, this is loose, but it's not organized, it's just loose movement, it's just soft movement. What I want to change in such a way that the center is suspended or supported, not suspended. Change in such a way that the shoulder girdle is supported and connected. Very different. You can do it quickly. I can do it quickly, but it doesn't look like that. You should do it at the speed so that you can be lucid about what you're doing. Not at a speed that you gloss over what you're doing. Move at the correct speed so you can feel that you're bringing the changes you want into your body. You go so fast that you're just pushing your arm out and you haven't felt what the shoulder's doing. You slow it down so you can feel letting go through the body. Let your mind envelop your whole body and feel the sensations. There's a difference between how I do Tai Chi now and how I did it 10 years ago. Now my awareness settles much more in the body. And I wait. I wait a lot more than I ever used to. I wait for the changes to take place, to start to give me the connections I'm looking for. I don't just look for the shape of the movement being right. I wait for the changes inside the body. Number 4. The legs change. Rotation in the hips as the hips settle in. Abdomen changes to allow space for the shoulders to drop. As soon as the shoulders drop, the arms are moving. And the shoulders are releasing while the arms move. You don't want any independent movement of the arm locked or held in the shoulders. Only while the whole shoulder girdle is releasing can the arm move. legs, abdomen, chest, shoulders, arms. Process of everything. One change leading to the next, leading to the next, leading to the next, leading to the next. Body synchronized. There's a meaning of synchronization. It's not just timing that everything happens together. It's one thing changing leads to the next response, leads to the next response, leads to the next response. Everything's dropping in, but it has its timing. Shoulders don't move until the muscles of the abdomen soften enough to allow them to drop. The arms don't move until the shoulders are moving. The muscles in the abdomen don't change until in the torso don't change until the abdomen and the hips release to give space. The first thing are the feet and the legs. This allows the center to drop in. Then the torso and the shoulders and the arms. The result is you start to feel the buoyancy and you start to feel the forces, and they start to be genuine. You start to distinguish between held muscles that create forces, tight muscles that create forces, movement of the body that creates waves, or forces within the body that creates waves. You start to be able to distinguish between a movement that creates a wave or a release that creates a pressure wave. Then you can start to join the dots between some of the training ideas that we're doing. So the fifth loosening exercise. Start in the center. So you've got that sensation of the body's weight pressed into both legs. When you move backwards, it's a release. And as soon as you release, center is supported by the back leg at 90% back. When you move forwards, the front leg is releasing and the center is supported in the front leg. When you come into the middle 50-50 position, the center is supported by both legs. Both legs are buoyantly supporting the center. When you sink onto the front leg, the back leg can release. Unstretch. Sitting back isn't just movement backwards. Sitting back is release of the back leg in such a way that the center is immediately supported by the back leg buoyantly. Coming forwards isn't just movement forwards. It's releasing the front leg in such a way that the center of gravity is beginning to be supported by the front leg. Drop by drop by drop by drop by drop until you get into the 50-50 position. You drop the back knee, sink to the front foot, and let the back leg expand. If you've dropped into the center well, there'll be compression in the back leg that wants to go somewhere. The compression in the back leg, if you stop in the center, you hold the compression in. But if you move fluidly towards the front leg, you compress the back, and the back leg expands. This is movement without stopping. So when you do the fifth loosening exercise, you shouldn't go into the center and wait. You should go into the center dynamically, continue onto the front foot, and let the back leg expand itself. It's a natural process of loading the back leg and letting it expand. Don't come up with that. Keep sinking and connecting onto the front leg. Sit back. Move in. Both hips seated. Dropping the back knee, sinking to the front foot. You have to first find that buoyant compression in the back leg before you can find the release of that. You have to first make a very natural compression in the back leg. This isn't easy to do when you're used to pushing by tightening or finding movement forward by pushing on out of the back leg. So it's not easy to do because you have to do the exact opposite. So when you move in and you load the back leg, you have to allow it to expand. But first, change the back leg, receive the weight of the center, find some fluid buoyancy in the connection from the center to the back leg. Same on the front leg, find that buoyancy to both legs as you come into the 50-50. Keep going on to the front leg so the back leg can expand. Don't just move back. Don't lower the body. Don't hold the body's weight. Melt the body to let gravity press your center into the back leg. Let gravity press your center into the front leg. When you drop the back knee, it's the trigger to start sinking to the front foot and the back leg to expand. It increases the pressure momentarily. Make sure you're not holding your muscles. Make sure your frame is not compromised, melting straight in to create the pressure in the back leg, sinking in and through. I'm just going to watch you do the fifth loosening exercise for a minute or so if I can. Yeah, good. I can see some people better than others, but that's the way of it. Don't try and do anything special, just try and do what you do. Do it as it is. Toby, when you sit back, make sure your center is really on the foot. Yeah, there. Make sure you're really kind of like getting more and more stable. Every bit of movement should have more stability. Yeah, there. So is that stable when you're right back? Good. Okay. Good. I'll say one thing about a common mistake. Not that it's a mistake, it's just that it's not really a mistake. The front hip joint needs to soften more for most people when you come forwards. So when you come into the front leg, the front hip joint, the front leg needs to receive your center as well. And if this joint is holding in any way, you'll come over your leg rather than finding that buoyant connection to your front leg as well. So that what goes on in your front hip joint is equally as important as what goes on in the back hip joint. So when you come forwards, it's not that you're pushing yourself forwards, it's really that you're falling into your front leg in exactly the same way that you'd fall into both legs to allow your center to drop in. When you come forwards, you're falling onto your front leg. And what happens is you get the buoyancy in both legs, so that when you transfer to the front, the back can expand. But there needs to be buoyancy in the front leg as you come in. Then you become very centrally stable. Find that central equilibrium that we're looking for. And if there's any questions, or kind of you don't understand what I'm saying or anything, or you want further explanations, just cut in and ask me. The main process in Tai Chi is to change our movements from being external to internal. And that basically means that every time you move, things happen inside the body. It's just to make us much more aware and to direct the movements from the inside, not from the outside. So the movements might look the same, but we're focusing on much more what's happening inside the body as we change. And that's the kind of direction we want our whole training to move towards, from being something that's very much thinking about where our body is to actually feeling what's happening inside the body and how does that make the body move.
Can I just,
so it's like, how do
can I just ask, when you drop into your front foot, and it's just like I was kind of thinking about, well, aware of my hip, and there was a little bit of a turn happened. Is that not, I gather that's not a good thing, probably. You meant to stay kind of forwards, not turn.
Yeah, you see, Kath, there are lots of movements in the form where after brush left knee twist step, when you move forward onto the front foot, you do turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, for example, when you do ward off right and you move onto the front foot, there is a turning this way.
Yeah.
So there are movements in the form where when you move onto a leg, you do turn. But in this particular exercise, when you make the movements more clear, which means there isn't a turn, it's just very straight forwards and backwards, you can see what your tendency is then.
Okay.
So with this one, try and keep it very straight.
Okay.
So you're not leaning out this way, your hip isn't leaning out this way, and you're not turning when you go into it. So your structure is very clear.
Right.
So when the structure is clear, think of it like a bow and arrow that's got a twist in the wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
The arrow isn't going to go in a straight line. So, but when your structure of your body is really clear, and you decide that that's the direction you're going to go in, then the forces will go in that direction too.
Okay, thank you.
If your body, when you go, it turns to the corner as you go, or turns this way, or something sticks out or something, that influences the forces get weaker.
Right. Thank you.
So try, there are reasons why the exercises are done. They are. It's meant to simplify it in a way so you can actually just look at what we're looking at and not get confused by another angle or another movement as well. It's hard enough as it is. But thanks, Kath. That's a good question. I think it's a good question for everybody. It's to try and keep the structure really clear, like our bow and arrow is really like, you know, perfect as best we can, as it is really. Okay. Good. I'm just going to check what time we've got. Okay, so heels together, we'll go through the form to cross hands. Just like it takes time for when you throw a stone in the pond for the ripples to change, just let your mind drop into the body, into the sensations in the body. Feel the muscles melting. Let go of the muscles. Let the shoulder girdle drop. Let the weight of the arm tug open the shoulders. Soften the brow. Soften the mouth, the lips. Soften the throat and the chest. Find your place where the body is as loose as possible, upright as possible. The muscles are just hanging off the bones. Start the form. As soon as you start to change on the inside, the center of gravity goes to the feet and is supported. You immediately find that buoyancy. You're not just lowering yourself, you're changing your muscles on the inside of the legs to receive the weight of the abdomen, to press in and find that buoyancy. When you find that buoyancy, it's in the right leg, the left is free to move. When you move across, the first thing that has to happen is you have to change inside the leg, because the body wants to fall this way towards the left foot. The center of gravity is immediately supported and continues to be supported right the way across until you find that level, that equilibrium between the weight of the body, the structure of the body, and the looseness in the body. And then the hips turn back, everything moving together. When you move here, you're not lowering the body. You want the muscles in the body to release, to receive the center into the feet, to receive the shoulders, elbows, and hands. So every part of the body is partly pushing down with gravity into the legs. Center becoming stable, shoulders becoming stable, the arms becoming stable, pressed into itself and onto the ground. Turn. When you come forward here, you're not just moving over the front leg, your center is dropping into the front leg. That involves a rotation of the hips, a softening of the front hip joint, and you're looking for that place in the 50-50 position where the weight of the body is balanced, very, very loose, and yet supported. The legs, the weight of the body, shoulders, everything pressed into the center, and the feet connected onto the front foot and through. Turn. Sinking. stabilizing as you turn so you can step. So the sinking in gives you the stability and the freedom to step. You don't move in and then take a step. The changes you make in your leg, changes you make of your body settling in, finding that buoyancy enables you to turn and step, move in. Sink. Make sure the front leg supports your weight. The back leg supports your weight. The whole body presses onto the ground, sinks to the front leg, and the wave comes down to the hands. Sink to the front foot and turn. Feel the center pressing onto the left leg. Feel the shoulder girdle melt and press into the left. Step. Gliding. Receive the body in the front leg. So when you're in the center, both legs support the body buoyantly. Change to the front leg. Fall to the back leg. Turn open. Turn back. Fall to the front leg. Fall into the front leg. Both legs press onto the ground. Change the upper body to press in as well. Through to the front leg, and a wave comes through to the hands. Fall to the back leg. Melt the back leg. Let the center connect to the back leg. 90% back. Fall forwards. Connected. Released. And push. Sit back. Not just a movement backwards, but look for the release that allows the center to immediately connect onto the back foot. Likewise, the upper body, turn. Move to the right leg. Don't just move to the right leg. Change the right leg that allows you to immediately fall into the leg, but be supported. Change the upper body. Buoyantly stable. Single whip. Going to do that section again, just through to single whip.
Thanks, Luke. I need to shoot. I'm working in a few minutes.
Okay, cheers, Brian. See you
Thanks,
later. Immediately stable and buoyant on the right. Center stable and buoyant on the left. Rebound. Stable and buoyant on both. Rebound. Drop the center into both legs exactly the same as loosening exercise number 2, where we drop in this way. Here, center drops in, shoulders drop in, arms drop in. Turn. Center drops to the right, left leg. Center turns, buoyant on the left leg. Center drops into both legs, same as the 5th loosening exercise, and through to the front leg. Drop onto the front leg, same as the 1st loosening exercise, and turn. Drop into both legs, same as the 5th loosening exercise, and to the front leg. Same as the 1st loosening exercise, sinking in and stabilizing and turning. Receive the center into the legs. Draw the center to the back leg. Turn open. Turn back. To the front leg. Both legs stable and buoyant, and press. To the back leg. 90% back to the front leg and through. Push. To the back leg. Feel the center press into the leg. Turn. Feel the center connect to the right leg. Turn. Let the center connect to the front leg, both legs, and through. Just to that. Can I see that section, please, from the beginning of the form? Just do it in your own time because everyone's individual, and I'll pick up what I see. Good. Okay. Yeah, good. Has anyone got any questions? Okay. The every single posture of Tai Chi's got a shape and the the shape of the hands, say single whip for example. The hand is in this position, which is the same as the push position. Center line of the body, one fist apart, height of the throat, one span here. The inches of the position, the hands up at 45 degrees and out at 45 degrees and up at 45 degrees. Out at 45 and up at 45, as if it's resting on something. If the hands are resting on something. And this isn't to put the hands in the right position, it's to put the shoulders in the right position. So when the shoulders are dropped into the right position, it drops the elbow. When the shoulder girdle is dropped, I'm exaggerating the movement here, when the shoulder girdle is dropped, when I say dropped, I don't just mean independent of the rest of the body, when the whole body sinks in, and when the shoulder girdle sinks in as well and becomes buoyant, the arms drop and become buoyant as well. This is the sort of feeling we want, because Tai Chi is all about feeling. It's not about getting the arm in the right place. It really isn't about getting it right. It's about feeling it, feeling a buoyancy. So the arm feels like it's pressing in, suspended from below and buoyant. So when we go into single whip, we want the shoulder girdle to merge with the rest of the body flowing in. And this is what we get in the third loosening exercise. So when we sink here, we don't want the shoulder to lift. We want the shoulder to sink and connect downwards, and the arm goes out with the turning of the body. So the arm stays connected. When we come into this position, our arms don't feel light, because if our arms feel light, we're carrying the weight of the arm with the tight muscle. We want to change that muscle to let the arm fall in. And you'll feel the weight of the arm pressing your shoulder girdle into position. The weight of the arm hanging pulls on the shoulder. The weight of the arm in this position pushes the shoulder into place. Same here, pushes the shoulder into place. And the whole shoulder feels pressed into the center, pressed onto the legs. And the buoyancy is through the whole body, right through to the fingertips. And this is the sort of feeling we want to try and get. And when you get it in one move, you can start to apply it in another move. So it's not that we're holding our arms in place. Let's just do white crane spread wings together. We're not just holding our arms in place. We're allowing our arms to drop in. So we're allowing our shoulder girdle to drop into the structure of the body and press us onto the ground. And as the shoulders drop in, the arms follow it, and the weight of the arm presses the shoulder girdle in. So if anyone was to push into the arm, it's alive, it's receiving, but as it receives, the force gets stronger and comes back. It's not that we resist somebody's force when they touch us, we don't resist them, we allow it in, but as they press in, it's like they're pressing into a ball into the water. Force comes back, or ball onto the floor, the force comes back, pressed onto the ground. I'll try and exaggerate the shape of the movement. When I sink, all this lets go. Back of the neck lets go, shoulders let go, allows the arms to press in, and the whole body seems to get stretched. That's the feeling we're looking for in each of the moves of the form. Come in here. Don't hold the arm in position. Let the shoulder drop. Let the shoulder drop. And then a wave can come back through the sinking arms. It's what we have to try and find in each posture. A really nice way to practice is to try and find that fluidity and that buoyancy in each posture. Whichever posture you go into, you let the body drop, let the shoulders go, and see if you can find that buoyancy in each posture. Like the whole body is like a big beach ball, and it's got that feeling that we're looking for. Does that make any sense at all? Yeah, good, great. So, you know, when you're practicing, take your time. When you go into the center, stop in the center and just kind of feel it, feel your way into it, and then go through it in such a way where you don't stop, and see if that buoyancy can be there in a kind of much more dynamic way. We have to kind of examine what you do from different angles, and see if you can find that place where the body is just like a beach ball. That's really what we're looking for in our Tai Chi, because that's the whole body working together as a unit. Great. I'm going to I think we're getting out of time. So if anyone's got any comments before we go, please say. Otherwise, I'll wish you a good week, and we'll catch up with you next week. Give it a minute if anyone's got any comments. Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Luke. See you next week.
Yeah, thanks, Kath. See you next week. Have a good week.
There is one next week, isn't there? It's Easter.
Yeah, definitely next week for sure. I'll send the link. I'll send the recording tomorrow and then the link the following week.
Can I ask about the floating thing again, which is confusing me?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, Patrick always says, don't stop, keep moving all the time. And when you're going from your substantial foot to your insubstantial, is it equal? Are you coming out of one foot and going into the other one at a completely equal rate? Because I think what I've been doing for years, really, probably I picked up from one of my teachers way back, is this idea of, just rising in one foot and then floating and then going into the next one. But what I'm trying to do at the moment is come out of one foot and go into the other in a really smooth and way where I don't really, it's much more subtle.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of launching myself and then just and it seems to be coming up for me. I mean, is that a good way to train? I mean, I'm always afraid to ask these really simple questions because I went to one of those schools where they give you a slap for asking a stupid question. But I've really got to get this right because it's completely fundamental.
There are different ways of training, right? And each way of training is going to give you something different, and then you move on with it. So the way I'm looking at it at the moment, those long balloons they make dogs out of.
Yeah.
Right. And you hold it, you squeeze it, and the air goes to the other end, and then you squeeze that and it goes to the other end.
Yeah.
That's the sort of model I'm looking at in terms of how the body moves. So rather than throw the body up, let it float and catch it again, which is quite a good way to work out if the body's contracting, if it's relaxing, and to start to feel the changes in the muscles. But once they're there, then you can work with them much more subtly. And you should try and keep the body connected all the time. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying at the moment. It really has made quite a profound difference, really. And it's much smaller, which has got to be good.
Yeah, so make the movement slow so that you can accommodate that slow pouring without it being too gross. Because as soon as you start to go big and gross and fast, it loses its subtlety.
Yeah.
The speed will come back, right? When you can do it well, the speed will come back. But to try and learn this stuff quickly is really difficult. So I know your movements can at times be quite fast. So I'd encourage you in particular to go as slow as you can.
Yeah.
With it.
It's not as fast as my mind.
Well,
I'll tell you that.
Feel it, don't think it,
Yeah, quite.
That's the answer with Tai Chi.
Yeah. No,
the mind's just the mind. Yeah, you mustn't follow the mind too much. You must stay with the feet, stay with the sensations.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Hope that's helpful anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thanks all.
Thanks again, mate.
Thanks very much,
nice
Luke.
one. Yeah, cheers. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.